It's that time of year again, and we host Accrington Stanley under the Abbey lights. The U's enter the game on Cambridge fans' nice list after amassing 10 games unbeaten, but can they gift wrap 3 more points and deliver us a Christmas cracker? Here to unload a sack full of opinions and spread joy to the UTAS listeners is everyone's favourite Grinch, usually found loitering under any and all mistletoe he can find. It's Mr. Jack Swindlehurst. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. A lovely introduction once again. One of the cheerier ones of the year of 2025. I've got some mistletoe stuffed in my back pocket in an empty cigarette packet that I'll be bringing out tomorrow to the match to catch you under the Abbey stand.
Well, fantastic, mate. And let's not scrutinise anything else that may or may not be in that cigarette pack. Well, days of the week go a bit funny this time of year, Swindle. This is officially actually a Thursday pod. For a Thursday release, apparently.
Yeah, first one we've ever done. I mean, we've never recorded on a Thursday, I don't think, in the history. So yeah, it's a new one. But yeah, Friday night. I hadn't realised that it wasn't like a full League One setup on the Friday night either.
No. We can bang our way into the playoffs.
Yeah,
no doubt. A win is back in the playoffs, and then just have to worry about it after that. Really, it's just through into Christmas, mate. Right. Most pressingly, Christmas quiz for the UTAS boys, recording very soon and coming to your Substacks or your Spotifys in the coming days. Swindle, I wanted to warm you up. I know how good you are at this style of quiz as well. Anyone who listened to some of the historic Christmas quizzes from UTAS will know Jack Swindlehurst is very good at aggregating things. Most famously, the South Africa World Cup attendance, where I think he said something like 40 million.
Yeah, it was something in the region.
Which meant something like 400, I don't know, some insane tally per game. So I've got a little Cambridge United Accrington quiz for you, mate. No prep for this. I can see in the reflection of your glasses.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to put a real shot clock on this. So I'll start you easy. How many times have we played Accrington Stanley in the history of football?
I mean, why would you think that is at all easy?
I think this is the easiest one on my list.
Well, I'm sure it is the easiest one, but that's like relativity. It doesn't matter if it's the easiest one. I'm not going to get it, and I'm going to feel embarrassed, and I'm sweating now, and I'm not enjoying this at all. We've played Accrington Stanley 12 times.
Oh, yes. No way. No way. Oh, my God. I nearly said I was going to buy you skepasti if you got that right. Obviously, one Ferry Path there, the Old Spring, the world famous skepasti, in amongst others. Swindle, what is the aggregate attendance of all Cambridge United Accrington Stanley fixtures in the history of football? Now that you've got 12,
I can.
You should be able to lock in on this. It's not in the millions.
No. Okay, so we played 12 times. So okay, so 10 times 3,000 is 30,000. I think it's
Don't forget COVID.
31,500.
It's not terrible. It's actually 43,729.
Wow,
yeah. I mean, we've had a few like 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, lowballed it a bit.
Bumper attendances. We're expecting another one of those at the Abbey on Friday. Obviously, £10 if you're a student and you're somehow listening to this. £10 only at the Abbey. So get yourself down there. One more, Swindle.
Yep.
The aggregate of the shirt numbers. This is the sum of all the shirt numbers that have appeared across those 12 games from anyone who made an appearance.
Cool. Okay. I understand I understand the
Good
kind of logic. Little bit of dead air here, which will make for a kind of embarrassing guest. 15, 20. So let's say
you're just trying to figure out a single fixture's worth.
I am. This could be a really bad answer. Oh God. 8,700.
Oh, it's 3,684.
Okay, right.
You see, you started so strong, and I thought he could be on something here. If he gets one of these others right, definitely would have bought you that skepasti. Obviously, get yourself down to the Old Spring. £15 for the burger, fish and chips. I mean, why bother? All the world famous skepasti with any beer. Obviously, Saturday happy hour. I have no idea what Christmas does to this happy hour. Whether it moves it around, no idea. Ticket holder discount, 10% off any time, whether it's CUFC season ticket or match ticket. Basically, get down there. We will be visiting it tomorrow in amongst some other pubs. I'm going to say, let's not put a number on it. Should probably talk about football, really, Swindle. As fun as that quiz was. Before we go on to Accrington, we are level on points apparently, with the Lockdown Legends promotion season. And most critically, I have worked out, I believe, we have the same GMT points tally. Does that mean the BSTU's curse is now lifted? Are we good in winter now?
Yeah, I think we've managed to shake that and not have to pod about it, which is the most important thing. Because I think we were almost kind of attributed with being the people that were cursing it by mentioning it so much. So yeah, we've come into it, and now I feel like the shackles are off. I think we've got this nice record. The pressure about Friday's fixture is a lot different than the GMT. It's a fantastic home record against a rubbish away record. But yeah, it's great to not be dreading the football more in winter just because it's the clocks have gone back. But yeah, we've definitely shaken that curse and can look forward, not back.
Very good, mate. It looked like you're really concentrating there when you're trying to work out the direction of the clock change.
Yeah, you got me.
Which is great stuff. All good for that quiz tomorrow. Swindle, I mean, people are talking about this game a little bit funny at Accrington at home. The reason I say that is everyone was looking ahead to December. Obviously, a few injuries on our board, as there always seem to be at the moment. And they were looking at difficult cup game at Stockport, Chesterfield, MK in the league, Chesterfield again, Gillingham. Everyone, whenever they've spoken about December, just seems to sort of assume that we're going to win this football match on Friday night, assume it's a home banker. It's almost not spoken about. It's like a given that we will pick up a win. It's getting that banana skin feeling, right?
Yeah, it really is, because you look at Accrington's league position and you look at 23 goals conceded, 0 goal difference. They look like a kind of boring team, but of late they've really turned their season around. And I think other than the last game out where they lost 1-0, last minute winner for Bromley, I think they've actually been doing quite well and certainly been on the up. They've welcomed a few players back, and I think there's a quiet confidence around Accrington fans that they could get something on Friday. I think Friday night under the lights always does funny stuff to teams and players, and I think we definitely don't want to go into this game with any complacency, because I definitely think they'll be up for it, and they're looking up, not down, now that they've pulled themselves away from the relegation zone. And I think they were looking at the start of the season to be one of the teams that survived rather than anything else, but I think they've got loftier aspirations, and we need to be careful that we don't go into this expecting a win, especially with a depleted squad as well. We're not spoilt for choice, so I think it's quite important that we go into it and give them the respect they deserve without sitting back and letting them get into the game too much.
I would agree with that. I don't know, it's just got a funny feeling, isn't it? Everything feels like it's going a bit too well, maybe with the injuries that we had. But perhaps I'm just naturally negative, it's starting to feel like, because trying to sped. Maybe I'm the Grinch, not you, or the Hans Gruber, or the many other characters that I passed up when I was trying to, generically find a Christmas villain to fit you up with. As you mentioned that, I mean, Accrington won their last away game at Harrogate, which is a really good result, but they're 20th in that away league table. Their recent form is great. They're third in the 5-game form table, obviously very strong at home. And this season, they've beaten Swindon 4-0. I must have glossed over that one up at their place. They've also beaten MK Dons. I guess, are we underestimating them? Is this a harder game? Are you expecting to be entertained? We've been entertained a lot in recent weeks. Do you think this might be a bit different?
Yeah, I think it could be quite an attritional game and quite a tight one. I think Accrington, as I say, they'll be happy to go away with a point, I should think. And then they've got 2 home games to finish the year out. And I think they'll be seeing both of the home games on Boxing Day, the 29th, as quite winnable. So I think they'll be looking at, coming to Cambridge and kind of upsetting the momentum that we have with that unbeaten run, and making lives hard and taking away a point. So I think not the best time to play them, in all honesty. And especially, it would be a really annoying game to kind of kill that unbeaten run for us, and I think that will be somewhere on the players' minds and the staff's minds, and it's really important that we go into the game with positivity but realism, and don't invite them to get settled too much, but at the same time don't try and go for them too much and suddenly find ourselves trailing and have a team who park the bus and can do it quite well. So quite important that we given the respect that they're due. And also, if you look at the league table, Accrington have actually scored more goals than we have this season. So, they're no mugs going forward. So we do need to be aware of that.
Hasn't everyone? No, not quite. A lot of people have scored more goals than us. But it's fine because we are rock steady at the back. All right. Well, to help us preview this game, you spoke to one of everyone's favourite Accrington fans, I guess. It's Tony from across the pitch.
Right then, news fans, I'm very delighted to be joined by Tony Robinson from Across the Pitch, Accrington Stanley podcast. Tony, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Nice to be with you today, talking some football. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, very good. An interesting a podcast, yours, Across the Pitch, official North American podcast of Accrington Stanley. Please tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Accrington, but I'm now living in Toronto, and I partner with a fellow out of Phoenix, Arizona, believe it or not, who started following the club because he heard the name Stanley, Accrington Stanley, thought it was unusual, and looked into it and just thought it was an underdog story that he'd like to follow. So we hooked up and we started this podcast, and we've done player interviews, manager interviews, basically every level of the club. We concentrate a lot now on match reviews and statistics and things like that. It's not as easy getting player interviews when you're not doing as well sometimes.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So we're downloaded. It's called Across Pitch. We're downloaded around the world as people, I think, that like our story, and hopefully we can spread the club's word.
Well, absolutely. It's great to have you on and great to speak to you. So Cambridge United, of course, playing Accrington on Friday at the Abbey. An interesting start to the season for Accrington Stanley, currently in 17th place, 24 points, 6 wins, 6 draws and 8 losses. How has the season been so far?
You could say inconsistent, but I think this last 8 or 9 matches, we've sort of, you want to say, turned the corner. We had quite a few injuries, and basically finding the right combination, the right lineup. But other than the loss to Bromley, which was in the 89th minute, which was, I think we all thought it was going to be a draw, would have kept the streak going. They play relatively well. So I'm encouraged because they've climbed out of the bottom, and they're, I think now they're 17th, is it now? We haven't looked. So, very encouraged by the signs of what we see. And I think we're sort of hoping not only to solidify our position in the league, but hopefully push up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, quite good form going into the Bromley game. I mean, the Bromley game aside, a difficult start to the season, but looking at December, you certainly came back into it, and a win away at Harrogate before that. How has the season improved since a tricky start?
Well, I think it seems to coincide with getting Sean Wally back, which is he's 37, 38 years old now, but he's still, I'll tell you, he's in great shape, and he's a leader on the club, on and off the pitch. And the young loanees that we brought in, Isaac Heath, he's a really talented player, one to watch. He's getting used to League Two football. He's a smaller player, finesse player. And he's adjusting to the physicality of League Two. But when Sean Wally coming back, and then Paddy Madden really sort of getting off the mark and contributing, and so I think when you've got all that pulling together, it sort of coincided with the present form.
Yeah, brilliant. And of course, like you say, nice to be kind of pulling away from the bottom a bit. I suppose a question for you would be, looking at the start of the season and looking at now, what were the aspirations for Accrington? Was it be looking towards the playoffs at the start of the season? And how do you feel now looking forward?
Well, I think, and I did a few interviews at the beginning of the season, and it was getting tough to do the interviews because everybody that you spoke to had you picked to go down. My thoughts at the time, I think the question was, you haven't signed a lot of players, and you don't have a big squad and not a big budget. But the fact that we kept a lot of the squad from last year, I think was good in the sense that we brought back some experienced players that the manager wanted to work with. But bringing in, on the off season, he signed young Isaac Sinclair, which is Trevor Sinclair's son, former England international, and he's really settling in well. And with the Isaac Heath, we've really sort of kicked on. But the aspirations, I always thought we were looking around 15 to 17. That was my personal opinion, and I'm hoping to be proved wrong in the sense that we'll get above that. But I think sort of hopefully I was on the right track when I was telling people that I don't think we're a relegation form team.
Yeah, look, interesting to see. And looking at the table, 23 goals scored and 23 goals conceded, goal difference of 0. Has that been a bit of a story of the season?
Well, when you look at the stats at the end of a match, the top 3 players consistently are the back 3. I think our back 3, and I haven't seen every team play this year, so it's really hard to say that it's the best back 3. But I would say that those 3 players are up in the top rankings for those defenders. We've got Farron Rawson, who come over from Morecambe, experienced and really doing really sort of. He's constantly in the top players that ranks in the match. You got Ben Ward on the left side, coming over from Burnley, and then you've got Devin Matthews on the other side, coming from non-league. And these guys are 23, 24, 25 range, and you're plucking somebody from non-league, and is it a hit or a miss? These guys, I think the biggest concern we're going to have in January is whether we can keep these guys, those 2 young players, because their value on the market would be excellent. Because when they've come in, as I say, constantly they're the top 3 best ranked players on the team day in, day out.
Brilliant. Well, if we look ahead to the game then, and a Friday night under the lights just before Christmas, always a difficult game to call. What style of football can we expect from Accrington?
Well, they do like to play it from the back, and they have the wing backs. They have Donald Love on the one side and Isaac Heath on the other, and they like to feed the ball to Isaac Heath. And what I've seen is that other teams now are picking up on that and doubling up on Heath, or even triple up it sometimes. So he's learning to try and pass the ball off into the channels, because when he gets double team, triple team, there should be somebody open. And we've got the front 3 sort of sometimes they go with 2 up front and 1 in support. Sometimes they'll go 1 and then the 2, and they seem to vary. And Sean Wally seems to have the license to move around. And I think the idea is to get the ball, wide to the wing backs, into Sean Wally, and then hopefully they can feed the ball into Madden and with Sinclair as well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. You've done a very good job so far of highlighting some key players for Accrington. If you had to kind of pick one for Cambridge United fans to look out for, who would you pick?
Well, yeah, from an attacking point of view, I'd have to say Isaac Heath, because he looks like the real deal. Very young, coming over from Heverton, first time in league. Exciting player to watch. His rankings don't really seem to be that high, because when you're ranked on if you lose the ball and things like, well, he likes to dribble and likes to take on players. Well, you're not always going to be successful on that. But Devin Matthews and Ben Ward and Isaac Heath are the 3 young, exciting players that if we to get a result Friday, those 3 will have an impact.
Brilliant stuff. Certainly be interesting to see how the game goes. And on these previews, we always ask for a match prediction, how you think the match is going to go, and then what you think the score will be.
Well, if you look at the home and away tables, it's no contest. I mean, you guys, I think you're second in the league, and we're in the bottom 4 or 5. So, all pundits are going to look at this and say it's a home win. I think on recent form that we've been playing well, that I think we could come in and sneak away a draw. So I'm going to go with a low scoring affair. as that's what we seem to be involved in. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Partly because I'm a Stanley supporter and I'm going to pull for some points. But I think we really legitimately will surprise some people, and I think we have a chance.
Well, I wish you luck for the rest of the season, Tony, after Friday, and I really appreciate you joining us today.
All right, cheers, mate. Thanks for having me on, and best of luck for you for the rest of the season. Hopefully, you guys can get in the top and push on to the League One.
Thanks, Tony, and thank you, Swindle. Mate, what's going on there? How's this Canadian guy? What's going on? What's the story?
It's incredible stuff. So yeah, you'll hear on the pod that Tony kind of introduces it a bit himself. But yeah, Accrington born, moved over to the States, moved around a little bit. Is a stakeholder, as are a lot of people at Accrington. But yeah, lives in Toronto, lives in Scarborough, Toronto. Another northern town that lends itself to American names, and does the podcast about Accrington Stanley with a man from Phoenix, Arizona. So they are the official North American podcast of Accrington Stanley.
Okay.
And they do a cracking job. It's a mad accent that Tony has kind of melded, half Toronto, half Accrington. But yeah, really knows his stuff and gave a good account of Accrington and the players we could look out for.
Wow. Very exciting when I get a chance to listen to it, which, absolutely I will. Swindle, let's go through this lineup chat. Start with centre mid, because I'm interested in this mostly. Obviously, Corey Smith limped off at MK Dons just for half time. What do you think the plan is? What are we going to do in centre mid?
Yeah, it's $1 million question, really. I mean, there is conversations that we'll talk about Neil Harris, mentioning Don Ball and Shane McLaughlin potentially being, somewhere near ready, but neither of them are going to be coming back in. I think you look at George Hoddle, and George Hoddle played the full game at MK, so he's playing well, and I think he'll probably have to come in again. We've got Pelly, available there. I think he'll probably have to come in as well. So we're really not kind of spoilt for choice here. I think Corey Smith is someone we have to be quite careful with because his injury record we know, and it can kind of lead to longer layouts if you try and push someone too hard, and there wasn't too much communication on what's going to happen with him. So I think probably Hoddle and Panzo, and there isn't really much leeway for changing it up particularly. It'd certainly be interesting to see. We saw James Brophy make a cameo against MK for the last 25 minutes or so, and I think probably he'll be a player that can come in, and we've seen him do a job in recent years, kind of deputising, but I'd be surprised if we didn't see him kind of in a more wide position where we've got more use out of him. I think he could have, quite a good game against a team like Accrington, especially at home, under the lights on a Friday evening. But yeah, I think in that middle bit, we're really not blessed for much choice in there, and certainly be interesting to see kind of how we do it. Obviously, Mayer will be out wide, and I think you'll go with Hoddle again if this is his season to kind of cut his teeth and prove his worth. Now's the time, and this could be a big Christmas period for him. So yeah, stick with him and bring in Panzo.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, other stuff from the press. So then, obviously, you mentioned there, I've put OTG and ITG on the grass and in the group. These are two of the favourite expressions, I guess. So as you mentioned there, Don Ball, McLaughlin, and Shane Lavery back in training. Lavery, Harris said, would be back in the squad. Very exciting. Interested to see how much we manage his minutes this time, Swindle.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one because obviously they've been careful with kind of his rehabilitation and bringing him back, and we've seen this a million times before, and he looks so kind of up for it and so match ready when he comes back. But there has to be a question about whether it's, is it worth putting him on for 3 minutes at the end of a game and then kind of, incrementally upping it, because we've just been here too many times before. We've asked too much of him too soon, and then, it's been another eight-week layout. I think it's a really tricky one to know whether Friday is the one for him. Obviously he'll be in the squad. He won't start the game, but would you bring him on after 70 minutes if we were 1-0 down, or, even if we were 1-1? And it's just, Tom Walker said it, and everyone's kind of said it on previous podcasts when we talk about Shane Lavery. You almost tense up when he starts setting off on a run, because you're just like, you can almost hear his hammy going, and it's a real shame. But yeah, we've got to be really careful, especially because we've still got 3 big games of this calendar year left, and there'll be no, incoming people between, the 2 home games on the 1st and the 4th. So there's 5 massive games, and and Lavery could definitely be of use in them. But I think we should be calling on him, sparingly. I think I don't know that I'd want to see him start any of the games in this calendar year, really. And yeah, just kind of ease him back in because we've fallen foul of it before, and yeah, we really do need him.
3-minute increments, you think?
Yeah,
you're telling me with 26 league games left, Lavery's not going to play a full 90 the rest of the season.
What I meant was,
but he will be able to play. What is that? 78 minutes on the last day of the season.
Yeah, kind of stuff. What I mean is, yeah, just kind of don't push him too hard. Don't expect him to do 25 minutes straight off. But yeah, I think 3-minute increments might have been a little bit underwhelming.
Okay, mate, we've just got to manifest that positivity.
Right,
okay,
good one.
If we manifest that positivity, then he might be able to play 5-minute increments, and then he'll play full 90 before the end of the year. I guess, I mean, you touched on it in bits and pieces there. Talk me through the rest of this lineup. Consider this also that Purrington, apparently, who came off unwell against MK, apparently still is not necessarily fully well. Obviously, we send him our best. That's a pretty brutal illness if he's been out for an entire week. What would you do at left back without Purrington, knowing that Bradshaw is also injured? Starting to have to really shuffle a pack here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going round. That's what they say this time of year, don't they? It's going round. Everyone's got it.
What are you talking about specifically? Or
yeah, no, it's just it's going round. But I mean, again, it's much like the centre midfield, conundrum. It's not much of a conundrum because we don't really have many players that can go in there. I think James Gibbons is the obvious choice. It's whether we set out how we set out against MK in that kind of formation, or if we were to go for a more conventional 4 at the back. We have seen Harris do it. I'd think probably Job and Watts keep their place and Gibbons comes in. Gibbons was the one who came on for Purrington, and it kind of makes most sense. I feel like it's a shame for Bradshaw. We spoke about Bradshaw as this player who was kind of underappreciated in the league frame and was being used in the cups, and then it's just not fallen his way. And sadly, I think he'll probably end up becoming a bit of a footnote because, had he been fit, he probably would have been given a bit of a sustained opportunity to prove himself, or certainly, being presented with quite a few of them. So I think, sadly, it's not going to happen for him. And yeah, I would say Gibbons would have to come in, and then, you look further up the pitch, and I think Bennett is, kind of re-solidifying that place on the right as his a bit, and hopefully, can kind of push on it over this festive period. And again, Mayer is the Rolls Royce, and we want to get as much out of him in the time that we've got him as we can. And I think he's a really useful player. He should be, I hope, rubbing his hands together, to play against a team like Accrington. As I said, they've scored 23, but also conceded 23. They can be, they're there to get out away from home. And I think we should be, looking to kind of exploit that. And they do play with kind of wing backs, but they're quite attacking wing backs, which I think leaves them quite exposed. So I think someone like Mayer really could have a field day in there and, given a bit of freedom. I think that would require, Hodlin and Panzu to do a lot of running, which I think they will both do. I think I'm an Mpanzu convert after a lot of early season criticism of him. I think he's really come into his own and is a really useful player, and someone that, we said at the start of the season would be a huge, hugely important if we were to be looking towards playoffs and beyond. And I still stand by that. And now he's really, we're getting a bit of a return on that. And then you look at the front three, Knight, Apre and Kaikai, it was who started against MK. As I say, Brophy would be one that might, that could come in and kind of benefit from it, benefit from playing against that. And, we've seen better from Ben Knight over the past few weeks, especially as another player that was kind of heavily criticised by a fan base. But yeah, starting to come into his own a bit more. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think Apre will keep his place. Sometimes, there is an angle where Harris would go for a kind of Kachunga in that position and kind of overload that forward unit, but I think he'll probably go with that, and Apre make a nuisance of himself against an Accrington defence that has done a lot of work over the past few games. So yeah, hopefully we can kind of exploit them and make the most of it.
Right, Swindle, round us with a pair of predictions. So firstly, after the Christmas quiz and before the game, we're going to visit some pubs in Cambridge tomorrow, famously the Old Spring in there. How's that going to go? What's your strategy?
Strategy in respect of like longevity, like maintaining longevity? Is that the question that you're asking?
Yeah. How would you approach it? You know, you've got a series of pubs planned, as many as 12, I've heard.
Well, just, you know, the only advice I've got is just to manifest loads of positivity on the way around. No, I think drinking regular glasses of water certainly helps. I think people forget to hydrate, you know, because there's walking involved on days like this. It's going to be a warm day tomorrow. The sun's going to be out. It's not like the rainy old day on Thursday, the first Thursday record we've done. It's going to be it's going to be dry and hot out there. So yeah, bring some energy gels, you know, a bum bag, wear your running shorts.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I'll probably just predict, you know, the match itself.
I'm really conflicted about it because, like you say, like the optimism around this unbeaten run is a nice but disconcerting thing to feel, and I feel like Accrington at home is just where it goes wrong, doesn't it? And I really don't want to manifest the negativity too much, but
no.
I just think it's going to be a harder game than some of our fans are expecting. I think it'll be nip and tuck, and I do think it'll finish in a 1-1 draw, which I think will disappoint some fans, but I think Accrington will probably make our lives difficult, go ahead in the first half, and we'll be made to work for getting a goal back and coming away with a point. So yeah, I'll go 1-1 on the night.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for United.
Oh, wow.
Why not? It's Christmas. I just feel like under the lights, Friday night, pre-Christmas. I just feel like we always win this pre-Christmas game, apart from last year, where we got done 4-0. But obviously 12 pubs, you know.
Yeah,
seeing stars at that point. Yeah, we got taken apart. It was like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I was going to describe it as sobering, but no, definitely not. Not that time. Well, Swindle. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, mate. Merry Christmas.